Hello, grade 3-4 class, and welcome to our music class for Friday, January the 14th. And I'm hoping you would have gone and collected or run and get it quickly now. I was saying with some of the other videos, the beauty about doing it this way is you can always stop me anytime you want to go get what you need. So if you need to run quickly and get your worksheet that I would have given you last week for today's lesson to take up, it was the staff, and it had the 5 lines which created 4 spaces. And then of course this is what all music worldwide universal language uses to write their music on. Okay, as we begin to move into the new year, we're going to begin working on some note reading, and then a little later on introduce our ukuleles. So it's important before we begin to play our instrument that we actually are able to read some of the music that we will have in front of us. So I have a completed one here, right here. Okay, if you want to go through it with me, I will name them starting here. Okay, and working this direction. Remember, we put an L under any of the notes that had a line through it, and an S for any of the notes that had spaces where they lived. Okay, all right, so let's start, and you can keep track as I go. Let's start with line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line. We'd be at the highest note on that staff, the very top line, which is line, 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 space, 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 space. All right, so hopefully you got those all filled out. Now, what I want to do this week is you will notice that this is the new worksheet, and the older class received the same worksheet because they, like yourselves, are going to be also learning how to read music for their instrument. And this is what you received. Now, this looks rather complicated when you look at it just this way, although some of you, particularly the grade 4s, probably saw some of this last year. And this, at the beginning, is what we call the treble clef. Now, we're not drawing any of those today. We will likely take some time to practice drawing those when we're back together. But if you look, the second line here is where it begins. And it does almost a complete circle around the second line up. Once it's made the full circle, it comes around, goes up, then goes a complete straight drop down, and it makes like a J. And that's called the treble clef. The staff is identified by the treble clef, and then it's called the treble clef staff. Later on, we'll talk about the other staff, which is the bass clef staff, but this is the treble clef. All right. All of these notes that sit within these lines and spaces have note names, and those note names come from our 7 letters of the music alphabet. Let's review what the 7 letters of the music alphabet are. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the 7 letters of the music alphabet. And when we are reading music, we use those notes and where they're placed on the staff. So you'll notice that if I held this up, and again, you're going to get to pause this, and I want you to actually draw it on the back of your sheet that I gave you. This is the treble clef staff, and there's all the letter names of the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we have a G, we have another E, we have another F, and we only have the 7 letters. So obviously with lots and lots of notes, there are more notes than da, 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 da. There's more notes than that. They go da, 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 and so on and so forth. So we have to reuse letter names. So for instance, you'll notice there's an F here that lives in the first space, but if you go to the very top, there's another F. So you would have low F, high F, low F. So they can be lower, or we can go 8 notes higher, which is called an octave, and play another F. And then we could go 8 notes higher and find another F. If you looked at a keyboard, which I will be bringing one of those to look at in our music class, you'll notice that the same notes can be found at different pitches. Pitches is the height of the note. If it's lower, higher, lower, higher. All right. So these 7 letters are found over and over again. Now we're only going to talk about this staff. There's also the bass clef staff where we'll find more notes. What I want you to do is to take a moment on the back of this sheet. I want you to draw 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you've made 5 lines, you've automatically created the spaces that you need. Put a circle in each space. Circle here, circle here, circle here, circle here. We're actually going to call those notes, but they look like circles. And then draw circles with lines. So these become line notes. Another circle with a line in the middle. Circle, circle with a line in the middle, circle with a line in the middle. So I'm going to hold this up. You can freeze this frame right here. Take a moment and draw this on the back. And after you've done that, we will talk about how the notes sit inside those circles. All right, so let's put an F inside the first circle. The first note in the first space is an F. The second note in the second circle in the second space is A. Third space is a C. Fourth space is an E. And if you actually look at that, it spells the word face, F-A-C-E. So those are the names of the notes that sit inside the space. So for instance, the very first note on your worksheet there sits inside the first space of the treble clef. We just said the note that sits inside the first space of the treble clef is an F. Now let's go through the lines. Give you a moment there. Freeze me if you need to. Note through the first line is an E, G, B, D, F. And sometimes knowing a rhyme is helpful to keep track. The spaces was easy because it spelt the word face. But the lines, you can actually write every, for the E, good boy deserves fudge. And who doesn't like fudge? All right. So that can help you remember E, G, B, D, F. So by using this, when you have this drawn, you will be able to identify every single note on the worksheet that you have received. All right. So for instance, let's take the second note or the second staff. So staff number 1, staff number 2. The first note sits inside a space, the top space. What note fits inside the top space? E. Okay. And so on and so forth. Let's go to the third one here, third staff, and let's go to the very end. A note that has a line smack through it. What note is that? Okay. What line was it? Sorry, I should have put that down so quickly. What line was it? Line number 2. Okay, let's go through. Line 1, line 2, smack through is the note called G. So simply write the note names under each of these. Now, one thing I need to remind you is that we always use uppercase letters, not lowercase. So you'll notice in this that it was a capital F-A-C-E, always uppercase letters that we used when we write out the music alphabet. So you know it's going to be one of those 7 letters, okay? So when we get together, hopefully very soon, we will go through and correct these together, all right? So next time I see you, make sure you have this sheet ready. Either bring it to school if we're able to be together, or if not, just have it ready and we'll take this up. And this is preparing us. Actually, this is a universal language the whole world uses, but it's going to prepare us to begin to play our instruments in a number of weeks. All right? Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, just use this drawn on the back of your sheet, and this will answer all the notes for you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.